who we surround ourselves with has a huge impact on how we act. We as human beings have an innate need to feel a sense of belonging. And so like they've actually found it, I think it was in the British Journal or there was a psychology study done that friends, or if you have a friend who has become obese, regardless of your distance apart from each other, you are 57% more likely to also become obese. And I know that that's a crazy statistic, and I can find the actual statistic and post it later on. But a lot of it is because like we want to belong. And if your friend becomes obese, what are the things and activities that they are doing? If you're friends and the only things that you do together are going out drinking or going out and eating, if that's all you know how to do, then that's going to lead to certain behaviors. Whereas if you have friends who go hiking or who like to work out together, or who do like big conventions or any sort of mindset work or journaling, any sort of those things, that's when that becomes more normal behavior, then those are the behaviors that you're also going to adopt. And this is also really, really important, especially now. I know there was a Netflix special about social media, the social dilemma. And it's really important, and I talk about this with my clients, that you become an architect of your social media feed, because it is an echo chamber. And so be really conscious. Is your social media full of things that are making you compare yourself, making you feel less than, or making you feel bad about yourself or negative in any way, shape, or form? Or is it uplifting? You get to be the architect of what you are consuming. So be conscious of it and redesign it as needed. And it's step 3, not step 2. Step 3 is refine. And as Tony Robbins says, repetition is the mother of skill, or excellent is something that is done repeatedly, right? It is therefore a habit. The biggest thing I want you to understand with the refining phase is neuroplasticity. And I love this. I'm such a geek. Anyone who's in neuroscience, this is amazing stuff. Hebb's law, whatever fires together, wires together. So just think about, like, honestly, whenever you're emotionally eating, right? Just recognize that you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just become a habit. That's it. It's just a habit that this is what you do. When you feel this emotion, you eat, right? And so all you need to do with this ability for neuroplasticity is to create a new pathway. So I like to think of it like a pathway like this, that honestly, this has just become the neural pathway that we have used. It has the least amount of resistance now because we've used it and repeated it over and over and over again. Think about your drive home from work. Think about tying your shoe. Think about how you brush your teeth. We don't even think about these things anymore. They're just part of who we are because we've created these neural pathways. So now we don't have to put energy into thinking about how to do it. It's the same thing with any habit, with any behavior that we want to adopt. So again, if all you want to do, rather than emotionally eating, the moment you get the cue that you're feeling anxious, if you could instead go for a walk, or if you could instead journal how you're feeling, then you repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. That's going to become your new pathway. That's going to become your pathway of least resistance and just your go-to. It just becomes who you are. And that can be done for anything. We are just so powerful if we understand this. And again, this comes down to us remembering that we're not failures. That's the whole reason why it's refining. It's taking the time to recognize what didn't go well and celebrating what did go well. Because, right, our brain wants reward. Our brain wants pleasure. So instead of beating ourselves up and focusing on all the things we've done wrong and focusing on all the things that we messed up on, we instead really need to put all of our focus on all the things we did right and all the things we did well and celebrate it. Get excited about it. If there's a moment that you didn't binge, maybe, or you put you almost started to and then you stopped, even if eventually you do end up binge eating or emotionally eating later on, you need to focus on the fact that you were conscious of the behavior and you stopped for a little bit. because that's when you start repeating it. And the next time it'll be even easier. And the next time it'll be even easier. Where focus goes, energy flows, results show. And too often we put way too much of our thought process on everything we've done wrong, on all the ways we failed. And instead we absolutely need to put much more attention and focus and energy on all the things we're doing right, so that our brain knows that it is worth repeating. And again, this is where my community, or being part of a community that is going to support you and celebrate those little wins with you and make that behavior normal and exciting and awesome, that's what we need as human beings. And so just a couple things just about my program, a testimonial from one of my, couple of my girls, Kiki. Like one of the biggest things for me, she had been binging and emotional eating for years, and she felt so out of control with food. And she realized that so much of it came from her not having a love for herself. And for her to be able to leave my program loving herself unconditionally. And I'm not saying it's always perfect, but you recognize that you are so worthy right now, regardless of how you look, regardless of what your health is, regardless of what your financial situation is, regardless of your relationship, you are perfect and beautiful just the way you are right now. And you are worthy and deserving of love and feeling cherished. Another one of my girls, again, felt completely food obsessed. It was completely consuming every aspect of her life. She couldn't stop. Like the moment she would try and like give herself unconditional permission with food, but she still felt like the moment that she didn't track every calorie or every net carb or whatever it was, that she would gain weight. She was terrified that she would gain weight. And it took up every crevice of her headspace. And through this program, she was able to become an intuitive eater, to really reconnect and listen to her body. She was able to learn to love and accept her body. She was striving for other things and able to put her headspace and her brain power to other more important things that really mattered to her in her life. And more than anything, she was able to enjoy her life. And this last one is from my client. I don't know if you can see it or not.
I can see it, but there's no volume.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. She's basically saying she had done Weight Watchers, she had done running, she had done all these things that had worked for a little bit, but the weight always came back, or she always then would just again feel like a failure, or she felt like she couldn't eat the same way as her family. Like she had to cook like multiple meals, right? So she had to make the food for her family and then make it for her. And now she's been able to learn that actually she can make delicious, wholesome meals for everybody. She doesn't have to follow these food rules, these really strict food rules, that it really just comes down to being more mindful and really listening to her body, recognizing what her body needs, and that it doesn't have to be extreme. It just starts with little tiny habits, one little bit at a time, until it just becomes who you are. And that brings me to my final little call to action. For the last week of October, right before the holidays start, right before Halloween kicks off, when you know all the Halloween candy is going to be all around, and then we've got Thanksgiving, and then we've got Christmas and all the things, I really want to help give you and help you understand what are the top 4 foundational habits to health that I teach all of my clients in my program. I mean, opening up for everybody. We're doing a 5-day live challenge. So every night before, I'll be dropping off a daily challenge for the day. And then at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be hopping on live. It might even be via Zoom, just to kind of chat about how the challenge, what the challenge for the day, how it's going, what you've learned about yourself, how you're redesigning your environment so that you are able to make it just a part of who you are. And again, these are small, little, tiny, sustainable changes that you can learn now and carry you on all through the holidays and beyond, so that you can actually enjoy the holidays without feeling guilt, without feeling any shame, and just actually be present. So if you want to join me for that, I'd absolutely love for you to come on aboard. It's the 5-day Healthy Habits Bootcamp. And again, starting August 26th, Our first live will be at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I would really hope to see you guys there. And that's it. August, did I say August or October? October.